Hello and welcome to Bell Curve Gaming. Today we're going to get into the semi-finals of our Budget Brawl tournament. Now in the quarterfinal videos we've seen 4 really interesting decks advance, and this video we've got some 2 really exciting semi-final matches to get into. So on the right hand side of the bracket we've seen Tempo Rogue's Nuzzle Chew deck advance, and they're going to be up against Edward Hyler's Turbo Beast deck. So that should be a fun match to see in the second half of this video. But to kick things off, we're going to get into the matchup between my deck, my Scatterstoys deck, and I'm going to be up against Startup 21's Miltank deck. So that should be a really exciting matchup. If you do want to see any of the deck profiles or me going through the decks themselves and analyzing them, they can be seen in the quarterfinal videos. I will though, in the description below, put down links to the deck list for you to check out if you wish. But let's get into our match between my deck and Startup 21. So going into this match, I didn't really know how I felt about my chances of actually winning this, because at this point we did all know each other's decks. I should just clarify that as we see an Acrobike start with Startup 21 here. So didn't really know how I felt, because the Miltanks can easily one-shot my wishy-washy shenanigans, and it can be pretty scary because this deck could just easily pop off and just start smashing in. So as you see here, look at this start. Really got the 2 milks already, dropping a heat factory. I mean, throwing away that welder is a little bit painful, but did find another welder out of it. Just didn't start the Jirachi in the active. That's the only unfortunate thing. But yeah, if it really pops off, it could be taking prize cards really quickly before I get my Stoices up. And obviously I'm a stage 2 deck, so I feel like I'm a bit more under pressure to get these Stoices up a little bit quicker compared to my last matchup, which was definitely a much slower match. So we'll see how things work out here. But definitely a reasonable start from my opponent here. So 2 NGs down, 3 milks in hand. That's enough to take out this wishy-washy. The one thing that I do have going for me is I do have the stamp at some point. So I've got to think about when I exactly want to stamp my opponent. The only thing that Start 21 doesn't have in hand that you can see here is a Fire NG. Now, of course, I'm not going to know that at this point, nor am I going to realize he's actually holding on to 3 milks. So that's really scary. Throw on the Jirachi in the active there, and just draw myself into an absolute ton of water NGs. At least we get the candy. So that's good. So the next turn, we can easily just candy up to a Stoice, Cynthia. Second water NG attach, I guess. I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't really matter getting to their water NGs this early, I suppose, because we can get 2 attachments out of it. So it's not the end of the world. Ooh, no Fire NG from Startup 21 there. Just look at that start. Had everything but enough Fire NGs to keep this thing going. And just having to pass. And you can see my reaction there. I was absolutely shocked after that start, seeing the Miltank and all those cards in hand, Miltank with 2 NGs, all those cards in hand. I was really worried about how quickly that deck was getting up and going. And you can see here, this is the wishy-washy getting to attack turn 2 of the game. So just goes to show that it is possible for this deck to get up and rolling by turn 2. Which is what we ideally want in this matchup, I feel. Well, in any matchup, but definitely this one. So we're just going to Stellar Wish here. Just have a look. We've got Pokecoms that we can pull in. We don't have any draw support. So, going to take the comms though. I think it's because I want to get another Squirtle down. That's pretty important, I feel. And we're going to drop the Wishy-Washy back into deck, because we've got the Pokemon Fan Club that we can go and get, Wishy-Washy's back anyway, and we can start manually evolving on the next turn if we keep our War Turtles. So we're pretty happy though, because we know that my opponent didn't have anything on the previous turn. So just hitting into the Miltank, that feels really good, and taking a KO. And I'm feeling a little bit confident here that we, went pretty safe. So I'm not getting KO'd. My opponent does have the Jirachi in the active to try and dig his way out of the brick. And let's see what he pulls in, a Fiery Flint. So that allows the use of the Heat Factory here. Be interesting to see whether he uses the custom catches. Gonna drop the Volk. So that's another attacker just hitting the discard. Things are getting a little bit desperate though, so setting the deck pretty nicely. Looking for welders, but keep in mind 2 of them are already in the discard. So only 2 left in deck. So digging for those 2. Gonna drop the Jirachi down here, just start manually charging up the mill tank. It's gonna have to leave the heat factory in play. So that's potential more draw. And what I wouldn't mind finding here is a way to oust that heat factory. Keep in mind that at this point in time, I actually don't have any draw. Got Pokemon Fan Club though. And we're seeing the custom catcher play. Try and pull that Blastoise in and get me stuck. But I'm also looking at things going like, obviously you want to protect your Stoices, but I'm playing a 4-1-4 line of Stoice, so... And we know our opponent hasn't hit what he really wants. We wouldn't have, we didn't see a welder in that turn. We didn't see a supporter, so we know he hasn't got the welder yet. So we've got some time here, so we decide to go and get another Squirtle up with the Pokemon Fan Club. Go and get another Wishy-Washy. Just thinking to ourselves here, I mean, we're getting a War Turtle on this turn as well. I think I was umming and erring over the Fione just to give myself options. Because what I didn't mind about the Fione as an option if I use it here is he has to make a choice out of whether or not he wants to put up the Jirachi that's got the board on there and force another piece, or whether or not he wants to put that mill tank down and lose the mill tank. And we can also go and get Fiona in the next play, because we've also got the Pokemon Fan Club in here. So that's the thinking behind that. Just forces having to find another piece. And we know that Start 21's hand isn't favourable, to say the least. Got the Blastoise, so that's a really good pull out of the prize cards. Good timing on that. Just getting a second Stoice up, so losing this Stoice, if we do lose it, isn't the end of the world. See the welder here, but makes me feel pretty good that we went with the Fione, because like I said, it's now another piece. Has the order pads to go and find it though. So hit the heads on the order pad. There's the board. But at this stage, I'll be honest, I was thinking to myself, do you actually have enough milks to be able to one-shot the Blastoise here? I mean, I'm seeing a second order pad. Hit heads again. And unfortunately, at this point, I'm not feeling all that great, because I see another heads on the order pad. And when I see the Fire Crystal, that surprised me a little bit, and just suggested in my mind there that, yeah, Start 21's holding enough milks to get some KOs. So I'm starting to contemplate, can I find a reset stamp? Keep in mind that I've, obviously taken 2 prize cards already. This just makes it 2 to 1. I'm able to take KOs. I mean, just trading's also okay. So maybe hitting a later stamp is better, just because there's also only 14 cards left in the deck. Oh, I suppose it's in the hand as well. Yeah, I mean, stamp could be good. But yeah, there's the Blastoise down. But fortunately for us, we've got the next Blastoise ready to go. And just top deck a Jirachi. Gonna Stellar Wish here. And grab ourselves the Cynthia, just so we've got some good draw. We could Pokemon Fan Club on this turn if we wanted. But yeah, we would have loved to seen a stamp out of that Jirachi there, I reckon. Just to get rid of the milks. So I'm just sort of, you know, balancing up in my mind how many more attackers I think I actually need. At this point. So I missed the stamp. It's unfortunate. I'm going to drop down another Squirtle. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if I just become a Blastoise deck at this point. I've got the Wishy-Washy already sitting there. Can charge up the Stoice here. And we've also got Roses sitting in deck, so when they KO us, we can hopefully find a Rosa and get into Stoices that way as well. So trading for us is okay. Obviously, we're going to have to, like, the big concern of the trades is just making sure we've got enough energies. And we have lost 3 energies at this stage. So pulling Rosa out of the prize cards, felt pretty good about that. I also know my opponent now needs another Welder plate. But of course, the Welder's already sitting in the hand. It's got a pretty fat hand. We'd love to stamp it. So there's the Welder. Onto the Miltank. It's going to definitely have the KO here. Really churning through that deck. Going to drop down the Victini. And is contemplating ousting the Stadium. Which at this point, it's probably the right move. It's got enough out of that Stadium at this point, I feel. Just able to pull some more Fire Energies out of the deck. Using the Stadium there. Got to be careful how much more he's discarding, probably. Stellar Wish here. Pretty much able to see just about the rest of the deck. I mean, there's not much left. And finding that power pad is pretty huge as well. Because stamps could be a real issue here. So, filling up some Welders back. Definitely needs Welders and Fire Energies. So, Miltank's coming in. Victini's obviously the next logical attacker. Surprised I didn't see that Miltank hit the bench there. So at this point, definitely know he's still holding those 3 milks. I mean, I've seen that last time, so it's not a surprise. And I've got food for thought here. We could Rosa. And I'm holding the Jirachi and a Pokecom. So Rosa could just get a Candy. And still get the Stoice. Doesn't have to go and get the Stoice itself. But decide to go with the Stellar Wish first here. I desperately want both. You can tell I really want that stamp. But I also know that realistically, getting Stoices up is probably more important. The other thought that I'm having here is just working out how many energies I've got left. Because I might need to think about a Brock's Grid at some point. So pull in the Candy. That gives me a second Stoice. That made the decision here that we're going to go with a Rosa. Could go and get Trip Stoice if I wanted. Which, by the looks of things, that's what I'm contemplating here. Not sure where the NG status sort of is. So you can see there I was checking the NGs. Went and had a look to see how many I've got left. Realizing that I only have the 4. Change my mind and go and get the Brock's Grip. And then contemplating, do I still want to pull the Stoice out? No, I've got an NG attachment. So yeah, we're going to play it safe and gonna go and fetch ourselves the Stoice and the Brock's Grip. Now just having a look at things, Wishy-Washy. I mean, I know that Wishy-Washy can one-shot anything that's in the deck, so getting another Wishy-Washy set's also good enough. We've got the Brock's Grip, like I said, sitting in hand. We know there's 4 energies left in deck for, and 1 left in hand. Got double Stoice to try and find them. Get the Wishy-Washy set up here. So 2 attackers are ready to go. Just got to get 1 more attacker ready. knowing that I've only got 2 NGs left in deck. So that's the reason why we're pulling the Brock's Grit here. Go on the Wishy-Washy, maximise the number of Stoices we've got left, take out the Mule Tank, and then passing it over to my opponent. Like I said, would love to stamp it, but I don't think it was necessary in that turn. That's the reason. I think the smart choice was setting up just to trade 1 for 1. And that's what we're playing at this point. Hits heads on the order pad. Getting the custom catcher into hand. Which I guess his play might be hitting out a Stoice and trying to get rid of as many energies as possible from the play. But once again, I only need 1 more attacker that I've got to get set up. So the Brock's Grit's good enough for me to just flood my deck with NGs, and I should be able to get 3 NGs out in time. Well, you'd hope so anyway. So we're seeing the Welder, can charge up the Victini, get lots of fire NGs back into the deck. Seems fair. And wouldn't be surprised if we see the Mule Tank drop now. Only 1 card in deck, but keep in mind that Victini is going to shuffle them all. Like, shuffle all the fire NGs back in there anyway, so it's no risk of decking out. Obviously a stamp would be bad though. So we wouldn't mind seeing a stamp become available for us. So yeah, we see the Victini come up here, and we see the custom catcher play. So like I said, probably going to target down the Stoice. That was my thought when I seen it. Yep. But I'm also remembering, like, I've got the Brock's Grit in hand. We only need 1 more attacker set up, and we're fine. So that's nothing to be panicked about at this stage. We've got a couple of turns to find those NGs as well, so we're feeling pretty good about things. I did have the thought as well. I do remember when I was in this position of perhaps using Fione and, you know, hopefully whacking out either the Jirachi or the Mule Tank, so either the other attacker, and leaving the Victini basically doing nothing, or hit out the Jirachi and just take a consistency card away from this. We're using the Brock's Grit, that's the reason why we went reset stamp instead of Rosa there. Just feel like this is the turn for the stamp. We don't need any other Pokemon, so we're just flooding the deck with NGs at this point. And we did use the Stellar Wish first, just, you know, because we didn't want to see nothing but NGs in the top 5 cards. So, a little bit worried by that draw. I mean, it's not panic stations yet. We've got a couple of turns to make it happen. But only finding the 1 NG card makes me a little bit nervous because I need to find 2 more. But hitting the stamp I know is pretty, you know, clutch. Put him back to 3. He's got 2 milks, 1 fire NG. 1 fire NG is not enough either, but has the giant hearth to go and get more fire NGs. Desperately needs to hit a welder off this. So you're going to drop the fire NG in. He's going to have tons of fire NGs in deck. So play it the right way around, thin the deck of the fire NGs as much as possible. Needs to hit welder off a Jirachi. And whack out this Wishy-Washy and really hope that I whiff on energy cards. So, does the... No Moo Moo Milk. No welder. Oh, that's painful. That is painful. And that's the power of the stamp, ultimately. You can just see that power of the stamp right there. The Mule Tank deck does not like seeing stamp. You just got time when to actually go into the stamp. So, on to game 2. So, I'm going first in this one. Same with the Jirachi up front, Squirtle down back. Really loving that start. So, I was having a look to see what is in the deck in terms of Pokemon. Thinking about getting a couple of Squirtles down, but decide against it and go the Wishy-Washy. And just back myself. I just wanted to get an energy attachment onto the Wishy-Washy. That's really what we're after instead. And just going to back ourselves to find a second Squirtle, because I really like having double Squirtle down on the first turn if we can. Now I had to make some, decisions here. So if we get a comms, I'm probably going to put another Squirtle down. If we miss the comms, then we're not putting the Squirtle down. But we find the comms here. We're just having a look, see if there's anything that's better. Consider the Rosa, but yeah. Ultimately, this deck that I'm against can start taking KOs after turn 1. So Rosa can be good if it just pops off and takes that early KO. You can see on my opponent's side of things, got a couple of milks, got a fiery flint to thin the hand. The acrobite's going to have to be huge. So in the top 3 cards, you really need to be finding something that can help get that welder play. Interesting that I decided to hold both Pokecoms here. I actually do remember why I did though, because I've got the Pokemon Fan Club. So I was sort of sitting there in my mind going, could Pokemon Fan Club go and get a couple more Squirtles, Pokecoms, just start setting up Stoices, not shuffle this hand away, because we like having as many Stoices up as possible. So you can see on my opponent's side of things, missing the welders, getting a second Miltank down, just to make sure that if I do get the KO here, that the game's not going to be over straight away. But what we're looking for is a couple of Squirtles. Just like I said, I like setting up as many Blastoise as possible. Powerful Squirrels. The Stoice is the heart and soul of this deck. The Wishy-Washy is just a nice secondary attacker. Which is like, it's weird. It's a secondary attacker, but it's the attacker you want to use first. So it's kind of weird. So I'm looking at that. Looking for some shuffle draw here at this stage. Or a switch of some kind. I think we're more after the switch. But looking at that, another candy is not the end of the world. So this stage we can't get some early pressure on. Can't get the KO. I realise it at this point. And perhaps I should have actually evolved in Powerful Squad first. Just looking at that in hindsight. Potentially thin the deck of an NG or 2. And then trying to find a board or switch. But we're okay with this. A couple more Squirtles down is okay with us. We did find enough NGs, it's just that we can't get to them. Which is unfortunate. Well, we have in hand enough to get a second Stoice up. We give our opponent another chance to try and make something happen. As you can see here, not a good hand. No way to draw at the moment, no Jirachis to help. I mean, I've even got the option of taking out the Miltank with the NGs on there. If I can find a switch card. But obviously I'm not going to, I'm just going to make sure we've got the setup with the Stoices. But just grab the Fione right there and take out, as long as I find my way into a switch. Yeah, take out the Miltank with a couple of NGs that are sitting down there. It's a powerful Squalling before we shuffle draw. We've got a couple of Blastoises up. We don't mind charging up a Stoice. Want to be careful about how many NGs we're just putting onto Stoices this early in the game. Just so we can maximise the chance into NGs to set up Wishy-Washies. For the earlier KOs, we find our boards here now. And you can see here that, we've nearly got another Stoice up. Then drop another Wishy-Washy down. I mean, look at this setup. Look at that bench right there. That is what you want to see with this deck. 2 Stoices, a War Turtle, so just about a third Stoice. 2 Wishy-Washies, one's attacking, one's getting set up. Got the switch to get back to the Jirachi to try and make some more stuff happen. My opponent top decks a Jirachi. Just to try and keep this game alive, really. So at this point, I see how many milks Start 21's holding. It's 2. We flip tails. We shuffle back to the deck. And this is where you see the deck in action. Shuffle it back. Yeah, just take a hit. Shuffle it back. We're just going to chuck the escape board down so we don't draw into it. Don't need to worry about the switch play. Just Cynthia. Just draw 1 energy. That's basically the best draw that we can hope for as well. We've got Trip Stoice now. We can drop a Wishy-Washy down if we wish. I mean, at this point, you might as well. There's no point using Fiona. So, yeah, we're just going to continue powerful scrolling here. I mean, look at this board state. You've got enough tackers for the rest of the game. It's just a case of get the energies in play. Didn't even think of that. Probably should have just kept floating the ball with energies. But at this point in time, look at the dominance of the position that we're in. So, just going to grab a Pokecoms here. Gives us options. I mean, finds another Wishy-Washy if we have to take a hit and run away again. Can go and get another Wishy-Washy out with the Pokecoms, or we could use Pokemon Fan Club. So we've got plenty of options. And really, with the board state as is, there's nothing more that we need to dig for in our deck just at the minute. We got Rosa to boot, just in case there is a one-shot somewhere. Not looking good for my opponent, though. This Jirachi's going to have to find probably Welder just to draw some cards. Desperately draw some cards. I'm going to have to Welder onto the Jirachi, which you hate to see. Never want to be dropping a Welder on a Jirachi, and that's it. That is it. Unlucky start 21, but yeah, that is the match. You really do hate seeing a match like that just decided by a brick. I mean, it happens. Every deck bricks here and there. I mean, I know some decks brick more often than others, but you do hate seeing a high quality match just determined by one deck bricking right at the start. But unfortunate. I do congratulate Start 21 though for making it through to the semi-finals. It's a fantastic effort, but we do see my Scatterstoise deck advance through the grand final. But before we can get to that match, we have to check out our other semi-final. This should be a really exciting match between Tempo Rogue's Nuzzlechew deck and Edward Hyler's Turbo Beast deck. So yeah, really excited for this one. So we are kicking this match off in the second game because we have to believe that the Nuzzlechew deck is 1-zip up because they both conveniently had issues recording the footage of that other game. So I know what you're thinking. Leave your conspiracy theories in the comments below. But we've got here Tempo Rogues going first and staying with the Bills, pulling in a Counter Gain and Guzma and Haller. So not finding a Mischievous off the first turn, which is really what, you know, this deck needs to kick things off. This is actually a very worrying sign for Edward's deck here. I mean, 1-zip down, and this is a horrendous start. I guess the only saving grace you could say is the Pikachu sitting in the active and there's no Emolga. Oh, well, there's the Emolga. But yeah, the Pikachu is sitting in the active. I mean, it's not what Tempo Rogue wants to start in the active. Really wants to just start Emolgas in the active, so that way it's got the free retreating option. But that's really the only saving grace at this stage. Is going to have to, you know, Tempo Rogue's going to have to find a switch here, or is going to have to waste a turn just NG attaching to the Pikachu, waiting to get out of the active, and just buying another turn for Edward's deck here. And it's going to really have to get herself out of trouble off the top deck, really. I mean, a lot of the cards just sitting in there is not going to help here. So just NG attaching to the Pachirisu down the back. I mean, that seems fair. Gonna Cynthia and Caitlin. If he can find that one switch that's in the deck, it would be huge, but not able to find it. And yeah, that's ugly. I guess the Guzma and Haller could try and thin the deck and then maybe use some custom catches for draws. But this is looking ugly. This is really looking ugly. So What is going to be dropped here with the Guzma and Hala? I mean, I suppose you can draw a stadium just to get rid of that. Getting rid of one of the custom catches. So yeah, an Ultra Space here. That's useful. The Ultra Space is useful. And so is the Karate Belt, I guess. So all useful cards. Can go and pull in a Buzzwole. Which is what's going to happen here. Be really interesting to see exactly what the plan is to thin the deck. I am a bit surprised that the 2 energy cards were brought in here. I mean, the Lily Doll is still around as well, which could be handy to try and buy some turns. But keep in mind, there is an open bench spot for the Dedenne that can bench snipe, so... But that Dedenne is not going to be one-shotting the beast on the back line. So maybe we won't see that. Yeah, very interesting. Very slow setup. Very slow. So we're going to have to see the switch out of the Pikachu here, I think. So probably desperately looking for the switch card. Oh, that is a bad move. Unless the switch is in hand. Perhaps the switch is in hand. That is something. I don't actually have Tempo Rogue's footage for this match either, believe it or not. So we're not going to know what is in Tempo Rogue's hands during this match. So we're just going to have to really sit here and speculate. But yeah, we don't see any switch. I think we might have seen a misplay. Just a little bit too excited putting the Raichu in play there. Having that 2 energy retreat cost. So he's going to have to go with the powerful Spark here. Only for 40 damage. And there's the greens. That is a great top deck for Edward. And I think Edward's probably been given a chance here, really. So getting the Mysterious Treasure. So going to stockpile Beast Rings. I mean, needs to get 2 prize cards gone off of this. So I would have thought another Mysterious Treasure would have been good. Because the Dust Stone's in hand. Yeah, I would have been thinking a Mysterious Treasure here. Although, yeah, it does need to switch. That is a point. That is a point. The Ultra Space is still in play. So that's something that is available. Just to thin the deck a little bit and get another Ultra Beast down. It is a big decision here. Can we go with the second Mysterious Treasure? I mean, that's the ideal play, but... yeah, just got to try and find that switch somehow. Although it could just NG attach the active and retreat out. Yeah, that's the other way to go about it. So the Mysterious Treasure is, I think, the smart way to do this. Dropping the counter gain out of that. Really wanting to save the stamp. I reckon I actually would have... oh, it's got a Mysterious Treasure again, I guess. So yeah, get rid of the stamp here. That makes sense. Would probably be pulling an Ultra Beast out before exploiting that Miss Magius as well. Yep, there it is. Getting a Guzzlord. And I reckon right here, I would just get rid of the stamp. I mean, stamps could be clutch late game. I get that. But I think the draw is just too important. It really is. The custom catcher could be good here, actually, just to draw the other Raichu in. I mean, does he have the K? Oh, yeah. So the other Raichu would have the KO with an NG. Although not on the Buzzwole, though. But the Buzzwole here... I don't think it's doing enough either. Because the Fighting Fury Belt, that just reduces the energy cost, doesn't it? Yeah, so that's... oh, no, it is. Oh, yeah, weakness. I've got to count for weakness, yeah. So hitting for 60 does do enough. So taking out the active Raichu there is the smart move. Especially since the Pachirisu is still going to be needing to be used here. And the fact that this Buzzwole can actually take KOs without it needing to be on the 4 prize card turn is massive. That beast energy seeing on the Buzzwole is huge. Just not needing to give up as many prize cards to get good value out of that Buzzwole. So I'm really feeling like the Pachirisu is probably going to be used here. Get all the energies into play, start one-shotting. But you feel like at this point, the Turbo Beast deck, despite it looking really shaky early, has got a really good opportunity now to kick into gear and force a game 3. Going to take the opportunity to Rosa. I mean, the stamp is in hand as well, which is good. So perhaps holding the stamp was the right choice. I mean, I'm just thinking about what could Rosa get. Could get a stadium card to try and counter the Ultra Space. But you'd think if that was coming, it wouldn't be coming this turn. Couldn't afford to play it because the Snuggly Generator is just required. But having it in hand, oh, we are going to see it this turn. Have we seen an energy attachment this turn? I don't remember seeing an energy attachment. Although the Raichu was KO'd. Nah, I reckon there has been an energy attachment this turn. And just a pass. Very interesting. Gonna really have to rely on things like Raichu to get the job done. Had the Marshadow resetting stamp as well. Oh, that is devastating. And gonna pull in the Raichu with the energy on there. Ah, the Pikachu, not the Raichu. And stamp him back to 5. Takes away another energy card. Takes away the Zapdos that was sitting in hand. And this is getting out of control very quickly. So yeah, I think we did see, I mean, I can't be sure, I don't know what the thinking was, but I do think we've seen a couple of misplays there with the Wondrous Liverith and the evolving of the Raichu just a little bit too early. Just unable to retreat out of it. So NG attaching to the backline Raichu. I mean, really needs to make something happen pretty soon, because this is getting out of control. Needs to get rid of that Buzzwole, but the worst thing about that is if the Buzzwole's ousted, the Guzzlords are coming. Although Edward doesn't actually have the Beast Rings yet. This has to be a Zapdos play. Just absolutely has to be a Zapdos play. Although the energy attachment's already happened, hasn't it? Perhaps we should have seen Zapdos earlier. Getting Dedenne down. I mean, I suppose that's a way to try and stay in the prize card race. Snipe out that Nihilego. But the Buzzwole is still a huge issue here. Desperately needs to find a way into a Zapdos and a couple of E-powers. Especially before these Guzzlords get powered up. Or, you know, Beast Rings have been found by Edward in his deck. Going to switch into the Pachirisu and get a Snuggly Generator off. So not being able to Snuggly Generator on that last turn's really set him back double here. But finally has a comfortable amount of energies into play. Oh, that's what you'd really want to see here. A nice Bill's analysis. Don't really need to KO anything because the Buzzwoles are just taking some nice KOs here. But just looking for Beast Rings, really. And a greens, that is huge. Yeah, you'd be taking the greens every day. So beast ring, greens can go and get another couple of beast rings. And this is just about set. I mean, the Buzzwole taking one prize card here doesn't probably really matter for the math side of things. Because the Guzzlords, I'm assuming, is what's coming to finish. And the Guzzlords are still going to need 2 KOs, whether that prize card was taken there or not. We are going to finally see this Buzzwole dealt with. But the Buzzwole's taken 3 prize cards. That's just far too many. You can't allow that Buzzwole to take 3 prize cards. And it's taken 3 prize cards even though it's not on its Sledgehammer turn. Just absolutely crippling. Unless there's a stamp or something coming. This is just like, this is out of control. We're going to have 2 Buzzwoles set up after this. And probably not a lot that can be done to stop this. So just checking out the Dene here. I mean, the Dene can get a cheeky prize card at some stage in that Nihilego. I feel like Nihilego is not useful in this match. I mean, I guess it does depend a little bit. I mean, there's Electros that could copy. There's the Zappy it could copy. But yeah, we do finally see the Buzzwole taken care of, but the damage has already been well and truly done here. Am surprised that the Lily Doll came up there. I mean, do you really need to throw the Lily Doll back into deck? You could just easily grab the Engis back with the Beast Ring. Out with the Beast Ring, go into the Guzzlord here. Could potentially also start thinking about setting up Baby Blounce. Because 1 prize card away from the Baby Blounce turn. And the Baby Blounce is just going to pick off a couple of Dead A's. That's the easier one to charge up. Yeah, the Ultra Space is coming. I would have thought Beast Rings here. Yeah, I'd grab a Beast Ring and a Switch, personally. Because Baby Blounce is all you need. Don't feel like you probably need to stamp. I mean, what else is coming? Getting the Baby Blounce. There we go. There we go. And I would have grabbed the Switch just so, you know, just in case there was some shenanigans trying to stop, you know, the Baby Blounce turn. Grabbing those 2 Engis. Where are they going to go? To the Guzzlord. Gonna stamp. I mean, I guess it's a bit more disruption. I just feel like the stamp wasn't probably necessary. But it reduces the options because this Guzzlord does need taken care of right now. And if it's like without any Pikachus out there, so maybe that was the thinking. There's no Pikachus out there. What's going to take down the Guzzlord? The Electros. And that's probably about it. So the stance probably try and get rid of the Electros and hope that, you know, that Electros is not in hand here. But even if Guzzlord goes down, it's 1 NG card away from this match ending anyway with the Baby Blounce. It's incredible to think how this match is involved from, you know, this contest being in dire straits with a horrible start from Edward, but really turning it around and taking a position in the deck where you're starting to just scratch your head and go, what options are left? So yeah, we're going to see the Electros come in here. And that Electro's ability just, you know, gathers all the lightning energies. Well, You can play it straight from the hand as long as there's 4 lightning energies on the field, and you can just put the lightning energies onto the Electros, which is absolutely awesome. So the E-Power here fixes up the numbers, takes out the Guzzlord, which is probably the best play that Tempo Rogue could pull off here. So now just one energy card away, and the energy recycler system in hand to go and pull that energy back in. And just able to snipe off a couple of Emolgas to finish. And just lose some heat and make it, you know, so you can't take out his Ultra Beast here. But yeah, very well played from Edward in the end there. And we're going to go and see a Game 3. Which is exciting. So let's get into the Game 3. So you can see here we're going to see the hand for Tempo Rogue here. This is the only game that I have the full footage for. So we're actually going to be able to see in this final deciding match both sides of the fields. And this should be exciting. So we're 1-1. One game to decide it. And we're going to see Edward go first here. Starting the Guzzlord in front. Which is really awkward because of the 4 retreat cost. I mean, it's fine if you're able to hit into a couple of Mischievous and then get into the Beast Rings and start smashing, because it can really quickly catch up the prize cards. Especially since this is going to be a setup deck as well that's up against. So wouldn't see it, be surprised if we see a double Mysterious Treasure here. Oh, getting the Ultra Space. Okay. Oh yeah, double Miss Magius in hand. You don't need the... Oh, I would have actually prioritized the double Mischievous. Yeah, I'll stick with what I said there. So we're going to see a Mysterious Treasure. Probably drop... Oh, I'm going to drop the Miss Magius. So... I mean, 2 in hand's not any good, so I get that. Can Dust Stone here. Needs to find another way into a Mischievous. The Ultra Space can get another Beast out. Can probably throw the Poker Gear away. Getting the Buzzwole out. I mean, that's assuming you can get into that full prize card turn. Yeah, I'd just be throwing that, I reckon. Oh, Bills could be useful. Could be useful. Thinking about the Guzma and Hala. So, Mysterious Message. There's the Mischievous. That's the start you're looking for. Can pop the Mischievous down. And the Miss Magius is just sitting in hand waiting for the next turn. So, yeah, beautiful there. Gonna throw the Poker Gear down now. Grab the greens. Bit surprised about that, but fair enough. The greens is a nice pull though. And passing over. That is a beautiful setup by Edward there. Like I said, the Miss Maggie is sitting in hand. Mischievous on the board. Can evolve into it in the next turn. And this is actually really exciting. So Pachyrisu's in the active, but Pokemon Fan Club is sitting in hand for Tempo Rogue. So able to go and get Emolgas here. Able to use the Snuggly Generator, get all the lightning energies on board. And we are really in for an exciting match here. Because it's going to be like going toe to toe. It's just whether or not, like this match could really end up being whether or not Edward can get enough energies. Because after this turn, it shouldn't be any problem for Tempo Rogue to take KO after KO after KO. And Tempo Rogue's going to need 4 KOs to win. I really feel like the Guzzlord has got to get some KOs now. I think the idea here is Guzzlord to get KOs, Baby Blounds on the 3 prize card turn, and then Guzzlord to finish. Keep in mind, I'm going to need the Beast NG on a Guzzlord to deal with that Electros at some stage. Probably at the end. Yeah, I think that would be the game plan for Edward's deck here. So the Snuggly Generator here. Accelerate 4 NGs from the deck. I'm a bit surprised that we didn't see the 5 Pokemon put down here to get the 5 NGs out. But thinking numbers wise, should be doing at least 100. But it's going to need to ramp up a little bit more than that. Getting the Baby Blounds out. Yep, that's the play that I've been looking at here. I mean, the NG attachment, you can guarantee Beast Rings. So I reckon I'd NG attach to the backline Guzzlord here. My reasoning for that is... that's the one... Yeah, good move, good move. That's the one I think is going to need to take down that Electros to finish. And you've got the greens here to go and get 2 more Beast Rings. And you're in the Beast Rings turns right now. So you just want to smash out a heap of Beast Rings here. And assuming that this Guzzlord gets KO'd in the next turn, you can try and find... oh, very interesting. Very interesting. Powering up the backline Guzzlord here. I would have gone after greens and double greens onto the front line. I mean, it's a counter... I'm just thinking for the Baby Blounds in the next one, you've got to get a counter gain and an NG card to it. How you manage that? It's a juggling act. I mean, thinking about the counter gain now, I think it's a little bit too soon. How are you attacking this turn? Is there something I'm not seeing here? I really feel like you can't afford to go down another prize card here. So the counter gain the Baby Blound, that seems fine. I mean, the Guzma and Hala in hand can actually get the energies required for that Baby Blounds as well. So I feel like the double Beast Ring off of that greens was the play there. Because not being able to take a KO here, he's really relying on this deck not being able to take out Guzzlord in this turn. And with 5 NGs in play already, an NG attachment for 6. I mean, there's also a spot open for as the Tapu Koko, try and accelerate NGs from the discard. I mean, it's super likely this Guzzlord goes down here. E-powers. There's so many ways that this deck right now can hit the numbers it needs to take out this Guzzlord. No problems. So I really feel like a trick was missed there. And this is a big opportunity for Tempo Rogue to get that extra turn needed. So just try and do the maths here. This will put him to 3. So 3 more turns. Which means that if Edward can get a KO on this turn, like a 2 prize knockout on this turn, there's still a chance. It's just... you know, he's going to have to find a way to take 2 prize cards at a time, though. That's the big challenge in this. And losing one of the card options that can get 2 prize cards, it's going to be a huge challenge. Okay, we're seeing a custom catcher here. Who is this going to be for the Baby Blounds? Interesting that Baby Blounds was the big target here. I reckon I would have gone with the Guzzlord with the Beast Energy here. Just because that's the one that can one-shot the Electros. I'd feel like that's the biggest threat. Be interesting to see what he goes into. Gonna go into the Guzzlord. I would have considered maybe dropping the Lily Dot And Bill's analyzing first, seeing if I can find a beast ring, because you really want to save the Guzzlord with the beast energy for that Electros that you know is sitting in this deck. And that's a big threat, that Electros as well, obviously. And you need these Guzzlords really taking 2 prize cards at a time here. I mean, let's think about this. 2 prize cards from a Guzzlord, well, from each Guzzlord, puts them down to 2 prize cards left. Still needs 2 more attackers afterwards, which would mean that's 4 turns. And if this Nuzzlechew deck's able to take KO every turn, he's not going to have 4 turns. So the favour definitely now is in the Nuzzlechew's deck. So obviously that Guzzlord gets a KO there. There is a Raichu ready to attack. It's got 5 energies in place. That's hitting for 100. It's actually not enough here. Wondrous Labyrinth. I mean, could drop a Wondrous Labyrinth to try and make it more awkward for Edward to attack, but the Mars Shadow is sitting in play. Able to get the Rosa. I mean, a Tapu Koko play here. We haven't seen Tapu Koko yet, have we? I don't think so. Get 2 more energies out. That's going to be 7, 140. Needs an E-Power. I mean, the numbers work. Grab an E-Power as well. Yeah, Tapu Koko. Reset Stamp. Okay, that's interesting. And a Disrupt rather than the E-Power. I reckon I would have... How are you getting the KO here? I mean, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, that does do it. As long as there's 2 energies in the bin. If he can energy attach. I can't remember if we've seen energy attachment here. We'll have to wait until he's finished getting these energies back. Oh, there's only 1 energy in the bin. There's only 1 energy bin. Oh, that's not good. Not able to get the KO here. Prioritize the reset stamp rather than the E-Power too. Oh, that's... Yeah, not good. So it buys Edward another turn, which allows this Guzzlord to get another 2 prizes here. Unless, of course, we see Electros drop down. Which I don't think we will. Because obviously the Electros just gets one-shotted back. No, because you're definitely not going to see the Electros drop down here. That wouldn't be smart. Would have thought we'll see the Pikachu drop down though. Marshall's not in hand anymore to be able to oust that Wondrous Labyrinth. Has got the NG though, but you really want to be attaching that to the Guzzlord in the back line if possible. Although that top deck helps. So here's the question at the moment. Do you need to get something with chip damage. I reckon I would nearly custom catcher here and set up the Nihilego first. That's your next attacker. Is it? I would have custom catch just to draw through the deck a little bit more, I think. Although, theoretically, you're also a custom catcher away from game at this point. So that's a really good thing as well. So this is interesting. I mean, a custom catcher is all that's required for this game to be over for Edward. The KO is going to be had here. It'll be easy. Wouldn't be surprised if we've seen the Electros coming in just to make it harder for Edward to take a prize cut. It has to be, doesn't it? Yeah, it definitely has to be the Electros this turn. Can't afford to bring anything else down, like into the active to attack, while that other Guzzlord is sitting there with 3 energies. So maybe the energy attachment onto the Guzzlord is good just to force the Electros out. Fortunately for him, the Electros is sitting there, which means that it's unfortunate that Psychic Energy was used on the Guzzlord. Because Nihilego would be absolutely awesome here to put 130 damage counters onto the Electros. But right now the Guzzlord can take a hit. But it's only one E-power away from going down from that Electros. And with that many cards in hand, and Edward obviously can't see the hand, you wouldn't be hopeful in this. Maybe do you put Lily Doll down and try and buy yourself a turn? I reckon I would have put Lily Doll down and buy myself a turn. I mean, Guzzlord down is a huge risk here. Because you need that Guzzlord to take the KO. You can't afford to lose the Guzzlord. You lose the Guzzlord here without taking KO, and this... oh, it's not necessarily over, I guess. As long as you don't drop something down that Dede can snipe. But there is Zapdos still to come. And E-powers for the Zapdos. But who's your next attacker that's getting a KO? I do still think the play there was to go into the Lily Doll and try and buy some more time. Potentially even switching for it just to draw some more with that custom catcher. Having a couple of Dust Stones in hand is really painful here. So yeah, Lily Doll's going down now. Oh, and there's the Rainbow NG. That is huge. Interesting on the Nihilego though. I mean, the Buzzwole has the KO here on this turn. Oh, I suppose... I reckon I would have taken the 4 NGs off the board. That's an interesting call. I mean, confusing. What could be the play here? I mean, now it's got to be a risk to try and get the KO with the Electros. But could have just taken 4 prizes straight off the board. 4 prizes, 4 NGs straight off the board. But then again, you've got to work out how you're getting the one shot to finish. Because the Raichu would have been able to come in and cause havoc. Like, set up for it's a 2-hit, but it's a 2-hit back. Plus, Zapdos would resist the Buzzwole, which would make it extremely difficult. But surely that would have had to have been the play in trying to get a second custom catcher in that moment. This would be interesting to see what Tempo Rogue does here. I mean, I think I'd nearly manually retreat from the Electros at this stage. And go to the Emolga. Aim 4 Lightning Energies on the board. Yeah, you'd have to go to the Emolga because the Raichu doesn't have the KO here. And you've got the Volkner to be able to get a Lightning Energy on the next one, which gives you that 100 hit that you need. You've got Zapdos sitting in there. I mean, there's plenty of options. I think that's how I'd play it. Sacrifice 3 NGs from the Electros and save him. Oh, went for the big epic win. And it did not pay off. Oh, wow. It's 1 prize card each now. Just the only thing is I don't see what Edward has available that's going to make a difference here. I mean, stamp back to 1. I mean, that's all right. This Nihilego can actually take a hit at this stage. Just. An NG attachment here that's doing 80 damage. So Nihilego can last that. Can't last much more than that though. Oh, well that's over now. The E-Power top deck. That's all that was required. And unfortunately we are going to see Edward go down here. But what a great game. What a great game. 1 prize card each there on a decider. That was epic. What a good game. Good game. Good game. Wow, that was a really exciting match between 2 really fun decks. And it's a shame really that we didn't get to see the other match that they had between them. I mean, we have to believe that obviously the Nuzzlechew deck by Tempo Rogue did make its way through. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen the 3rd match in that. I think it would have been an absolute cracker. But yeah, Nuzzlechew does advance. That did surprise me a little bit. I thought the Nuzzlechew might just, have its work cut out for it in the Turbo Beast deck. But we do see that Nuzzlechew advance, and it's going to be a really tough matchup for my Scatterstoys deck in the grand final, and I'm super excited for it. But until then, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you in the grand final.